For years, the Duggar family built their reputation around faith, loyalty, and the idea that no matter what challenges came their way, they would face them together. Through reality television, interviews, and carefully managed public appearances, millions of viewers saw the Duggars as a family that could survive almost anything. But now, a shocking new controversy reportedly involving Joseph Duggar is creating a wave of concern that feels very different from anything the family has faced before. Because this time, attention isn't just focused on the allegations or the growing online speculation. Instead, many fans are becoming increasingly worried about the emotional impact this situation may be having on Joy-Anna Duggar. Social media exploded after emotional comments allegedly connected to Joy-Anna began circulating online, including one statement describing the situation as the hardest time I've ever gone through. And almost immediately, longtime followers of the Duggar family began asking the same question. What is really happening behind the scenes? While many claims connected to the controversy remain heavily debated and unverified, the emotional response alone has triggered massive discussion across YouTube, Reddit, TikTok, and celebrity gossip forums. Some viewers believe years of scandals, public pressure, and family tension may finally be taking a serious emotional toll on several members of the Duggar family, especially those who have spent most of their lives growing up in the public eye. Others believe this latest controversy could mark a turning point for the family's public image altogether. Tonight, we're breaking down the emotional toll this controversy may be taking on Joy-Anna Duggar, why longtime Duggar followers believe the family dynamic may be changing, the growing backlash now surrounding the family online, and why many viewers believe this situation could become one of the darkest and most difficult chapters the Duggars have ever faced. Because according to many fans watching this unfold in real time, this scandal feels very different from the ones that came before. For years, the public watched the Duggar family present an image of unwavering faith, discipline, and unity. No matter how intense the criticism became, the family almost always appeared determined to stand together through every controversy. But many longtime followers now believe the emotional weight surrounding the family may be becoming harder to hide, especially for Joy-Anna Duggar. In recent months, online discussions about Joy-Anna have exploded across social media platforms. Fans have pointed to emotional interviews, quieter public appearances, and subtle changes in family interactions as possible signs that she may be struggling under enormous pressure behind the scenes. Some supporters believe Joy-Anna has spent years trying to protect both her personal peace and her loyalty to the family at the same time, an emotional balancing act that may be growing increasingly difficult as public scrutiny intensifies. Others argue that growing criticism surrounding the Duggar family has created an environment where even routine social media posts are analyzed for hidden meaning. Every facial expression, every caption, and every family gathering quickly becomes the subject of speculation online. And while much of the conversation remains based on rumors and internet theories, the emotional reactions from fans have been impossible to ignore. Many viewers say Joy-Anna appears more emotionally reserved than she once did during the family's earlier television years. Some believe motherhood, marriage, and years of public controversy may have dramatically changed how she handles life in the spotlight. At the same time, others caution against reading too deeply into edited videos and carefully selected social media moments. Public appearances rarely tell the full story, especially for someone who has spent most of her life growing up under cameras and constant public attention. Still, the growing concern surrounding Joy-Anna reflects a much larger issue that has followed the Duggar family for years: the enormous emotional toll that public scandal can place on every member of a highly visible family, even those not directly involved in the controversy itself. And according to many fans, that pressure may now be reaching a breaking point. As online speculation continues spreading, supporters remain divided over what is really happening behind closed doors. Some believe Joy-Anna is quietly distancing herself from ongoing family drama, Others think she remains deeply loyal, but emotionally overwhelmed by everything surrounding the family's public image. Whatever the truth may be, one thing has become increasingly clear. Public fascination with the Duggar family shows no signs of slowing down. And for Joy-Anna, the attention may be more intense now than ever before. For many viewers, the Duggar family once represented a very specific version of the American dream. A large, tightly bonded household built around faith, discipline, and traditional values. Through years of reality television appearances, carefully structured interviews, and public speaking engagements, the family cultivated an image of stability and moral certainty that attracted millions of loyal followers. At the height of their popularity, the Duggars became one of the most recognizable families on television. Fans watched the children grow up on camera, celebrated weddings and births alongside them, and followed what appeared to be a carefully organized family system built around unity and religious devotion. But as the years passed, that public image began to fracture. Multiple controversies surrounding members of the family dramatically altered how the public viewed the Duggars. Headlines that once focused on wholesome family milestones slowly shifted toward scandals, investigations, and growing criticism from both former supporters and mainstream media outlets. For longtime viewers, the change felt shocking. The family that had spent years presenting itself as disciplined and morally grounded suddenly found itself at the center of deeply uncomfortable public conversations. Critics accused the family of prioritizing image management over accountability, while supporters argued that the Duggars were being unfairly targeted because of their religious beliefs and public visibility. No matter which side people took, one thing became impossible to ignore. The constant cycle of controversy appeared to be taking an emotional toll on the family itself. And for younger siblings like Joy-Anna Duggar, the pressure may have been especially difficult. Unlike older family members who entered adulthood before the family became nationally famous, Joy-Anna spent much of her childhood growing up directly in front of television audiences. Viewers watched her transition from a little girl into adulthood, while cameras documented nearly every stage of her life. That level of visibility can create enormous emotional pressure, especially when personal family struggles become national news. Over the years, online discussions surrounding Joy-Anna have often focused on how emotionally caught in the middle she appears. On one side is loyalty to her family, her upbringing, and the values she was raised to defend. On the other side is the growing weight of public scandals that repeatedly force painful conversations into the spotlight. Many social media users believe Joy-Anna has sometimes appeared emotionally exhausted during interviews and public appearances following major controversies involving the family. While she has rarely spoken publicly in great detail about private family struggles, fans frequently analyze her body language, social media activity, and emotional reactions for clues about how she may truly feel behind the scenes. That scrutiny has only intensified as new rumors and legal controversies connected to the Duggar family continue generating headlines online. For critics of the family, each new controversy reinforces long-standing concerns about secrecy, accountability, and the pressure placed on younger siblings to remain publicly loyal no matter what happens internally. For supporters, however, the ongoing backlash has sometimes felt relentless, with some arguing that every Duggar family member is automatically judged because of the actions of a few individuals. But regardless of public opinion, there's little question that repeated scandals can create emotional strain inside any family, especially one forced to experience those moments under constant public observation. And according to growing online speculation, that accumulated emotional pressure may now be affecting Joy-Anna more visibly than ever before. Many viewers believe this latest situation feels different because it comes after years of non-stop public controversy surrounding the family. Instead of being viewed as an isolated incident, critics online are framing it as part of a much larger pattern that has followed the Duggars for over a decade. That history is exactly why recent emotional reactions connected to Joy-Anna have triggered such widespread concern across YouTube, Reddit, TikTok, and celebrity gossip communities. To many observers, this no longer looks like a family simply navigating one difficult moment. Instead, it appears to be the emotional weight of years of controversy finally beginning to show publicly, especially for family members who have spent most of their lives trying to hold everything together while millions of strangers watched from the outside. Among all the Duggar siblings, Joy-Anna Duggar has often stood out to viewers as one of the most emotionally transparent members of the family. While many of the Duggars have maintained carefully controlled public images over the years, fans frequently describe Joy-Anna as someone whose emotions are easier to read, whether she's celebrating joyful moments, processing grief, or navigating difficult family situations. That openness is a major reason why so many online discussions are now centering around her. Over the years, audiences watched Joy-Anna grow up on television, transition into marriage with Austin Forsyth, become a mother, and publicly endure painful personal experiences, including pregnancy loss and intense scrutiny from critics of the Duggar family. Unlike some of her siblings who stepped further away from public visibility, Joy-Anna has continued sharing parts of her life online through YouTube videos, social media updates, and family appearances. Because viewers feel they've watched her mature in real time, many fans believe they can notice subtle emotional changes in her behavior. In recent months, online speculation has exploded across YouTube comment sections, Reddit threads, TikTok discussions, and fan forums. Supporters have analyzed everything from her facial expressions during videos to her tone of voice and overall energy level during public appearances. Some viewers claim she appears noticeably quieter and more emotionally exhausted than she once did. Others believe years of non-stop controversy surrounding the Duggar family may finally be wearing her down emotionally. A major reason fans are focusing on Joy-Anna specifically is because she has historically appeared deeply connected to multiple family members despite the family's ongoing public scandals. Viewers often perceive her as someone caught in an incredibly difficult emotional position, balancing loyalty to her family while simultaneously facing enormous outside criticism from the public. That kind of pressure can become overwhelming for anyone living under constant online attention. Many fans also point out that public scandals rarely affect only the people directly involved. Even relatives who have no connection to allegations or controversies can experience severe emotional strain when their family name dominates headlines. In high-profile families like the Duggars, every new controversy tends to reopen old wounds, reignite public debates, and place the entire family back under intense scrutiny. Supporters online argue that this cycle of repeated scandals could create long-term emotional fatigue for siblings who are simply trying to live normal lives while carrying the burden of public association. Some discussions have even focused on the emotional conflict that can emerge when family loyalty clashes with personal well-being. Fans speculate that Joy-Anna may feel pressure to support relatives privately while also recognizing how deeply public controversies have damaged the family's reputation. For many viewers, that tension may explain why she sometimes appears emotionally conflicted during recent appearances. At the same time, it's important to note that much of this conversation remains speculation from fans observing public content online. Neither Joy-Anna nor her immediate family has publicly confirmed many of the assumptions circulating on social media. Still, the sheer volume of discussion surrounding her reflects how emotionally invested many longtime viewers remain in the Duggar family story, and why so many people believe Joy-Anna may now be carrying an especially heavy emotional burden behind the scenes. As rumors and online discussions surrounding Joseph Duggar continued spreading across social media, the reaction quickly became impossible to ignore. Across Reddit forums, TikTok comment sections, YouTube reaction channels, and fan pages dedicated to the Duggar family, thousands of users began debating what this latest controversy could mean for the future of the family's already damaged public reputation. For many longtime followers, the situation felt eerily familiar. Over the past several years, the Duggar family has repeatedly faced public scrutiny tied to scandals, legal issues, and criticism surrounding their ultra-conservative upbringing. Because of that history, many online commenters argued that public trust in the family had already been severely weakened long before these latest rumors surfaced. Some Reddit users questioned whether the Duggar brand could realistically survive another wave of negative attention. Others speculated that certain family members may eventually choose to publicly distance themselves in order to protect their own marriages, businesses, or social media careers. And throughout all of those conversations, one name appeared constantly: Joy-Anna Duggar. On TikTok especially, creators began analyzing clips from older interviews, podcast appearances, and YouTube vlogs featuring Joy-Anna. Many pointed to moments where she appeared emotionally exhausted or unusually reserved compared to earlier years of public appearances. Of course, much of the speculation remained exactly that: speculation. But in today's internet culture, even subtle changes in body language or tone can trigger massive waves of online theories. Fans dissected facial expressions, pauses during interviews, and cryptic social media captions searching for possible hidden meaning. Some viewers claimed Joy-Anna appeared emotionally overwhelmed. Others believed she may simply be exhausted from years of constant public attention and invasive online commentary. Meanwhile, reaction videos discussing the situation began generating hundreds of thousands of views. YouTube creators posted lengthy breakdowns attempting to connect older Duggar family controversies with current rumors. TikTok users stitched together clips from past reality TV episodes alongside recent family updates, creating emotional narratives that spread rapidly across the platform. For many viewers, the fascination wasn't only about controversy. It was about watching a family that once carefully controlled its public image now struggle to contain constant internet speculation. That contrast became a major focus of discussion online. For years, the Duggar family presented themselves as deeply united, spiritually strong, and capable of overcoming any hardship together. Their television image emphasized structure, loyalty, and unwavering family values. But critics now argue that the pressure to maintain that image may have created an environment where emotional struggles were hidden from public view for years. Some commenters expressed sympathy for the younger Duggar siblings, pointing out that many of them grew up with cameras documenting nearly every stage of their lives. From childhood through adulthood, major milestones, relationships, weddings, pregnancies, and personal hardships often unfolded publicly in front of millions of viewers. According to many fans, that kind of lifelong exposure could create enormous emotional pressure. Others, however, were far less sympathetic. Critics argued that the Duggar family spent years benefiting financially from reality television fame while avoiding accountability during previous controversies. Some accused the family of prioritizing reputation management over transparency whenever scandals emerged. That divide in public opinion became increasingly obvious online. One side viewed the younger siblings as individuals caught inside a difficult family system they did not create. The other side believed the family's culture of secrecy and public image control contributed directly to repeated controversies over the years. As those debates intensified, social media users began revisiting older Duggar interviews and television moments with entirely new perspectives. Scenes that once appeared harmless were suddenly being reinterpreted through the lens of current speculation. Fans examined interactions between siblings, emotional moments during interviews, and even seemingly minor comments from past episodes, searching for signs that deeper family tension may have existed beneath the surface all along. And whether those interpretations were fair or not, the renewed scrutiny only fueled even more public curiosity. The internet's fascination with the Duggar family has always been driven by contradiction. A family that built its identity around unity and faith, while repeatedly finding itself surrounded by controversy and public criticism. Now, with rumors once again dominating online conversations, attention has shifted toward the emotional toll this level of scrutiny may be taking on individual family members, especially Joy-Anna. Because while headlines and speculation continue spreading across social media, many viewers believe the real story may be the quiet emotional strain happening behind closed doors. And according to growing online discussion, fans are beginning to wonder whether this latest controversy could permanently change the Duggar family dynamic forever. One reason this story resonates with so many viewers is because it reflects something far bigger than celebrity headlines or internet speculation. At its core, it touches on the emotional toll families can experience when private struggles become public controversies. When a scandal erupts in the public eye, the consequences rarely affect only the person directly involved. The emotional impact often spreads across entire families, affecting siblings, spouses, parents, and even children who suddenly find themselves pulled into public conversations they never asked to join. For families who live outside the spotlight, that pressure alone can be overwhelming. But for a family like the Duggars, whose lives have been documented publicly for years through television, interviews, and social media, the emotional strain becomes even more complicated. Every new controversy immediately sparks waves of online reactions. Headlines spread quickly. Old stories resurface. Social media discussions intensify. And with millions of people watching and commenting in real time, even deeply personal family matters can become public entertainment almost overnight. That level of exposure can create enormous emotional exhaustion. Many fans now believe Joy-Anna may be carrying the difficult burden of trying to maintain family relationships while also processing painful public realities. Over the years, viewers have often seen her positioned as someone deeply connected to multiple siblings and family members. Because of that, some online observers speculate she may feel caught between loyalty to family and the emotional weight of ongoing public scrutiny. Whether those assumptions are accurate or not, the conversation itself highlights how emotionally complex these situations can become for people living through them. Public scandals also create another challenge that many viewers may not fully consider: the pressure to remain silent. In highly publicized families, every statement can trigger backlash. Every interview becomes dissected online. Even social media activity can spark headlines and speculation. As a result, some individuals may choose to stay quiet simply to avoid intensifying the situation further. But that silence can sometimes create its own emotional burden. Online discussions surrounding the Duggar family have increasingly focused on the idea that repeated controversies may lead to emotional isolation within families, especially for relatives who feel trapped between public expectations, personal emotions, and fear of creating additional conflict. Some viewers believe that emotional tension may be especially difficult for siblings who grew up in a tightly connected family environment, where unity and loyalty were strongly emphasized publicly for many years. Others point out that constant internet speculation can make it nearly impossible for family members to process difficult situations privately. Every appearance, facial expression, or social media post becomes analyzed for hidden meaning. In many ways, public scrutiny can remove the normal space families need to heal, communicate, or work through emotional pain away from outside judgment. And because the Duggar family has remained such a recognizable public name for so long, each new controversy tends to reopen older wounds and reignite conversations about past scandals as well. For some viewers, that ongoing cycle is part of what makes this latest situation feel especially heavy. Many fans say they are no longer simply reacting to one isolated event. They are reacting to years of accumulated controversy, emotional tension, and public fallout that has surrounded the family over time. At the center of those discussions is growing concern about the long-term emotional impact these situations can have on everyone involved. Because regardless of where public opinion falls, one reality remains difficult to ignore. Living through repeated scandals under constant public attention can place enormous emotional strain on any family. And many viewers now believe this latest chapter could leave lasting emotional consequences that continue long after the headlines eventually fade. As emotional reactions continue spreading online, many viewers believe this situation represents another major turning point for the Duggar family. For supporters, the emotional discussions surrounding Joy-Anna Duggar highlight the enormous pressure public scandals can place on families living in the spotlight. Many fans say that years of constant media attention, online criticism, and public scrutiny can create emotional strain that outsiders may never fully understand. For critics, however, the controversy has reignited long-standing debates about the Duggar family's public image, internal dynamics, and the role reality television played in shaping public perception over the years. Online conversations continue to question whether the family's carefully managed image can withstand continued controversy and growing public skepticism. At the center of all of this is the emotional toll that public scandals can create, especially when family relationships, personal trauma, and intense internet attention become intertwined. As discussions continue across YouTube, Reddit, TikTok, and entertainment media, the story has evolved beyond simple headlines and become part of a much larger conversation about fame, pressure, accountability, and family loyalty. And regardless of where public opinion ultimately lands, one thing remains clear. The emotional impact of these controversies appears to extend far beyond headlines alone. As speculation continues growing online, millions of viewers will likely keep watching closely to see how the Duggar family responds moving forward, and whether healing, reconciliation, or further division lies ahead for one of reality television's most talked about families. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.